you need to track the leading indicators versus the lagging indicators. And you need to come up with a way of tracking that and put someone on your team on tracking that and giving you the information. Then you have to look and study those numbers. So what are the numbers saying? And what gets in the way? You have to solve what gets in the way, which is not tracking, not looking, and not having a good comparison and not tracking the right things. Okay. The second thing is you have to look at what the numbers are actually saying. So for you need to figure out what the right cadence is for reviewing the numbers. Is it daily? Is it weekly? Is it monthly? It all depends on your initiative, and how quickly something could go off course, and you need to look at numbers. For instance, if you're spending $20,000 a day on Facebook ads, you want to be looking at your numbers every day. If you are not, then you don't have to look as often because it's less of a big deal if there's a minor shift on the daily. Okay, so what's the cadence and how often? Get that calendared. And then who on the team is gathering that data for you? Is it you? Is it someone on your team? Is it someone on the team doing the analysis for you? Can someone else be in charge of looking at those numbers and giving you a summary? What level of review do you want to have for each initiative? It's going to be different for each initiative. You don't have to have your eyes on all the data for everything in your business. And again, that depends on where you're at in your business. But for the things that move the needle, you're going to want to be tracking that and watching that, either getting a summary scorecard in your leadership team meeting, or a summary scorecard in your marketing or ops meeting or sales meeting, or you're going to want to have those sent to you and be looking at them on the weekly. But that all of that has to be a rhythm and fleshed out for yourself so that it's a regular occurrence and that you're not just blowing it off. Okay. So the third thing is, what are you comparing it to? And you need to know industry standards. And this is super important. So if you don't understand industry standards, then your mind, and this is where the inner game piece comes in, your mind will make up stories about what those numbers mean. Your mind will say, and will confirm a self-image that says you're not good enough, you're not doing a good enough job, you're not working hard enough. All of those not enoughnesses will come out, and your mind will make up a story and say, you're not good enough. This is not good enough. If you don't compare it to other data metrics that make sense in your industry. So here's an example from my own personal business that just occurred like yesterday. I was having a leadership team meeting and we were fleshing out different roles in the company. And it was a very powerful meeting. And one of the things that came up was looking at the back end of our company. Like, what do I mean by that? The inside, behind the scenes, how our company is running. And I was like, oh, it's so messy. Okay, truth be told, I love order. I believe in order. I love things organized and ordered. And I will probably always have a sense that things are messier than they need to be and not in good order. But in this case, I really thought, oh my goodness, like all of this is a mess, right? All of this, like I was talking about what was happening in our business. I'm like, all of this is just such a mess. And both my director of operations and my strategic advisor, who is, she does our marketing strategy for us, both trusted advisors to me, were like, you know what? Our business is not a mess. We've been in the back end of a lot of businesses, and this business is not a mess. And I was like, really? Is that true? Are you just telling me that? Are you blowing smoke up my skirt? Like, are you for reals? Like, that was the conversation, because I did not have any comparison. I didn't have any data, business intelligence. I didn't have the business intelligence on which to make that judgment. So I was judging us too harshly. And I was like, oh, look at that. There's my not enough story in the form of it's such a mess. It's disordered. And when I stepped back from it, I was like, you know what? We got things really rocking and rolling. And whenever, like, I know this, whenever you're in growth, which we're always in growth, there's going to be adjustments, and that's going to be messy. So there you go. Little personal reflection there. So you need to know what industry standards are. Now, the caveat here is you want to be comparing yourself to something that's equivalent, not something that is if you're making $1 million a year, you don't want to be comparing yourself to someone who's making $25 or $50 million a year. They're going to have different numbers and different business intelligence and different metrics and all of that. But you want to be comparing how well you're doing. You're going to want to use the numbers, the data-driven numbers as business intelligence to compare yourself to where you're at in business. Are you improving week over week, month over month, year over year, comparing your numbers to your previous state, as opposed to only looking at what the industry is doing. Okay? So those are two different ways of using this law of relativity. Making sure that you're using it in a way that's powerful for you and supports you, doesn't diminish you.